Hi there, welcome to Sundays with Sal and Sincere Manuscripts. I'm obviously Sal, and today I'm not going to be talking about sex and marriage. I know we really had fun doing that last week, but the edits aren't ready yet, and I will try and make sure those are ready for you next week. Now I've promised that you're gonna have to hold me to that, so I'm under pressure. But this week I wanted to talk about your gift. And the key question is, what are you doing with your life, or what have you done with your life lately? And basically I want to encourage you and highlight that you have a gift. So maybe you don't attend church on a Sunday, or maybe you do and you sit on a bench, or maybe you're not even a Christian at all. This talk is for everyone. Maybe you stumbled across this on YouTube. Welcome. It's all good, and this is here for you as well. Yes, you. You don't have to be a Christian to watch Sincere Manuscripts, but it is Christian-based talks based upon the things that have worked, the principles that have worked for me. My encouragement to you is that you have purpose. You have a purpose as unique as the fingerprints on your hand that God has designed from the beginning of time. And most of us, or a lot of us, yeah, I think most of the population don't feel like it. We don't feel like we were designed for something more. And I do believe that when you do come into a relationship with God, He does activate that purpose. And I'm not just talking about that from the air. I'm talking about it from my experience of who God is and what has happened in my life. And don't get me wrong, there are times where I have kind of been, I've had moments of kind of like, I don't know where I'm going from here. I'm floating, stagnancy, no direction. And those moments have made me think, is this it? Is this how my life is gonna be? But then there have been a lot of moments of clarity. And in those moments of clarity, I have moved on the vision and the purpose that God has put within my heart, because those actions have been based upon one question, and that is, what would you have to show for your life when you die, Sal? What would you have to show for your life? And some of you will say, oh, that's just a rubbish question, but I guarantee you may not be able to come back to me and tell me, because by that time you'd be dead. But when you lay on your deathbed and you look back on your life, that question will come into your head. Why didn't I act on that thing that I always wanted to do? You know, I've written a book, I'm writing other books, and people that I speak to, when I hear them and they say, oh wow, you're writing, you're an author, I've always wanted to write a book. But then the thing is, I just don't have the time, or, you know, I just don't think it's going to happen, or whatever. You're easily going to look back when you lay down on your deathbed and think, gosh, I should have written that book. You know, for the Christians, when you lay on your deathbed, you may actually be saying, I went to church every Sunday, listened to a pastor talk every week to me, and don't have anything to show for it. And I want to ask you this really challenging question. How many talks, how much preaching, how many messages do you actually remember? Have you ever sat down in church, if you've been in church your whole life, or if you've been in church for a long period of time, and thought, wow, this message is going to stay with me for the rest of my life? If the answer is no, then you have to ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? Because the whole point of church isn't for you to just go and sit down and do nothing. When Jesus came into this world, He commissioned His church and His disciples to go into the world and make disciples of many. But we always think of it as like you have to be booming voice and you have to be shouting at people. It's not really just that. It's all about showing love, showing kindness, being an heir, being a support to people. For example, I used to have a neighbour who was really elderly. Nobody saw me checking out for her, making sure that, you know, if she dropped down dead in that house, you know, someone will be able to notice. because she lived by herself. You know, it's just those little things. Sometimes we think we have to do big things. We have to stand up there. Oh, I have to be like the pastor, and I have to preach, and I have to be seen to be doing something. But it's not just that. It's the insignificant things. It's the way you care for the person that's sitting right next to you. It's your love for your brother or your sister. That I think is just as important. So I really do want to encourage you, especially if you're a Christian, even if you're at home and you say, you know, I can't go to church anymore. You can still write a letter or a note or let someone know that you care. You know, making a difference to someone's life doesn't take money. It doesn't take big acts of service. It just takes time. Just give someone a little bit of your time. And for those of you that will say, you know what, what's the point? I really want to encourage you. It's actually worth fighting for. Living a life of purpose. Figure out what you want to do. Write down the 10 things. If you got 10, even if it's 2, write down 2 things that you want to do. That, you know, like when I'm no longer here, this is what I want to be remembered for, or this is what I want to have done or impacted the world with in a positive way, made a difference in a positive way to somebody else's life. I'm no different from you, honestly. Like, just because I'm in front of the camera, a lot of my friends see me doing a lot of things, but I'm driven by purpose, and I do not allow others to diminish my gift. Do not allow others to diminish what God has placed upon me. I'm 100% sure and confident that what is on my life, the decisions I'm making to do vlogging, to write, to influence in a positive way, it's definitely a God-given, God-inspired gift. And I do believe that God sometimes, without talking to us with the big booming light, will just put something in our hearts, which is what I feel has happened with me, that we'll be so passionate about. And I am absolutely passionate about people. I'm passionate about making a difference in the lives of other people. So yeah, find your passion. Find that thing that you wake up in the morning. I used to watch Sister Act 2. She used to say to one of the girls, girl, if when you wake up singing is the first thing that comes to your mind when you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to be a singer, girl. And that's what I want to encourage you with. Like, if that thing is on your heart, it might not be the first thing you think about in the mornings, but I noticed that with me, it's the thing that's constantly on my mind. And whether I'm afraid, whether I'm fearful, whatever it is, I know in my heart of hearts, it's the thing I'm meant to be doing. And I do believe we all have that individual imprint. So I just want to encourage you, leave you with a little bit of homework. Please, if you have two or 3 things that you want to do, write them down and really work towards making those things happen. Your life matters. You're not insignificant. You don't have to sit in the back of a church. You don't have to be overlooked by your work. You don't have to be overlooked by, you know, your peers. You are important. You are significant. And that thing that you're doing, oh, everybody's gonna laugh. Nobody's gonna understand it. They don't all have to understand it. You know, when I started doing vlogging, not everyone understood it. You know, and sometimes over time, Habakkuk 2 verse 2 says that, or I think it's Habakkuk, there's a scripture in Habakkuk that talks about the vision becoming plain, the vision becoming clearer over time. And I just want to encourage you guys with that, you know, it may sound like a mad thing that you might be able to do. Maybe it's just something random, like being a graffiti artist or something, and you might be thinking, but I don't have the skills to do that. Take the time to learn, and just be faithful to your vision. Be faithful to it, regardless of what other people think, because in due time, it will all become clear. All right. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'm glad to be back, and I just hope you all have a good day. Happy Sunday. God bless. Bye bye.